Chapter 1068. Wilbur continued to smoke his cigarette, his expression unchanging. Just then, Jamari let out a cry as he darted forward. Hundreds of sword shadows appeared, hurtling towards Ryder at a ruthless speed. All at once, fierce winds kicked up in the room with terrifying spiritual pressure. The attack was close to the sanctuary level. Every single one of the sword shadows seemed impossibly sharp, destroying everything in its way. Rampant spirit pressure filled the entire room at once, making everyone's chest lurch as if they were drowning. At the same time, the crowd could not contain their amazement at Jamari's skills. Pre-sanctuary level was definitely terrifying. Ryder's expression turned solemn at last in the face of this attack. He let out a cry at the same time Jamari cast his blow. Spiritual flames shot out of Ryder's sword as he slashed wildly at the sword shadows, refusing to back down in the slightest. The banquet hall looked like a tornado had struck, with spiritual energy filling the air with howling winds and thunder. When the crowd was finally able to open their eyes, they saw Jamari standing tall and proud, smirking at Ryder in disdain. Ryder's sword had transformed back into a dagger, and there were a few wounds on his chest. Despite the wounds being shallow, they were bleeding profusely. It was clear that Ryder was no match for Jamari once the ultimate moves were pulled out. Everyone else began to laugh at the sight of a pale, heaving Ryder. Vale was the first to speak up, turning over to Wilbur. "Your guy lost, young man. Who else are you going to turn to now, huh?" Wilbur said nothing. "You shameless bastard. Did you think you'd be able to take on the world with a mere ambience-level cultivator by your side?" Chansey snorted. Laurent let out a loud laugh as well. "You're a nobody. God, this is funny." Donnie was all the more smug, devoid of any of the terror in her from just now as she stuck her chin out at Wilbur. "I warned you before not to be foolish enough to challenge us, but you didn't listen. Now you know what real power looks like. But it's all too late." Wesley looked around at the smug faces of everyone in the hall before turning to Wilbur shakily. Wesley was not trembling out of fear. He was all the more angered and hopeless at the fact that he had failed at getting his revenge and instead gotten Wilbur and Ryder into trouble as well. Just then, Ryder took a deep breath. He used his spiritual energy to stop the bleeding, and his dagger lit up with spirit flames once more. He was going to keep fighting. Jamari raised an eyebrow. He pointed his sword at Ryder, scoffing in disdain. The gesture implied that he was just waiting for Ryder to meet his demise. Ryder's gaze narrowed, and he was about to lunge. Wilbur spoke up then. "Come back. You're no match for him." Ryder sneered coldly. Stopping at the last minute, he returned to Wilbur's side, quietly channeling his spiritual energy to heal his wounds. Vale and the others burst out laughing at once. Just then, a series of heavy, uniformed footsteps sounded at the door. A troop of Special Forces officers barged in, surrounding the entire banquet hall. A few of them were even carrying heavy-duty snipers and portable bazookas crouched behind other officers. The head of the team ran over to Hugh, bowing to him. "Second Chief of the City's Special Forces Squad, Meyer Warb, reporting for duty, sir. Keep the situation under control, and make sure no one gets away. Stand by for further orders," Hugh said, his expression cold. "Yes, sir," Meyer called out in response, turning to do as told. Just then, Jen got to his feet while looking coldly at Wilbur and Ryder. "How dare you show off your useless combat skills in front of the Kiwanis Chamber of Commerce? Our club is the finest in Dasha in both combat and wealth. We'll crush little lives like you in a second, you absolute fools." Hugh sneered as well, his expression turning even colder. Ryder had heard his men right in front of him. Hugh was going to take his time with Ryder after Vale and the others had their turn.